Good morning, Downey. It might be too early to say happy spring, but I'm here to speak with you all a little bit about all the rainbow cards you're seeing and the rainbow slide, the Awaken the Space campaign we got going on, or as I like to call it, the Rainbow Connection. You probably all know by now that we are working together to fund a big project in the basement to repurpose the space and make it more usable for the church community. You probably saw last week that we had a video about the Downey youth group who will be using the space as well. Something I think they failed to mention is that doubling the space that they can look for the reverse hide-and-go-seek sardines game hiding spaces was definitely a plus for this whole project, but that's me, personally. I remember something that Trey said a little while ago. He said, we got good news and bad news. The good news is we've got all the money we need to fund the project. The bad news is it's still in your pockets. And I think that, along that same vein, we have all the space that we need in this church, in this building, to work on our community projects, our outreach, and to be an inclusive society here. The problem is it's just not usable yet, and that's why we're working together to fund that project. So I have another video of another group that might be able to use the space once it's complete. I hope you enjoy it. So following the video, we will have the deacons come down and collect the tithes and offerings. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jill Phillips, and I am Managing Director of the ICAN Food Pantry, which is located here at Downey Avenue, and we serve the 46219 zip code, and we average roughly 40 families every week, and that equates to approximately 120 people per week. We have been in existence since the 80s, so women at Downey Avenue had the vision of creating this pantry, and we have been operating nonstop since the 80s. So that in and of itself is an amazing accomplishment, and I love the legacy of the food pantry because it's in alignment with everything that I've ever heard about the history of Downey being strong proponents of social justice. The whole concept of the church utilizing that space in the basement is fabulous and long overdue. And the whole idea that it's all going to be dedicated to outreach mission, and that even includes our youth, because that's from youth from our church and outside our church. It would be a dedicated space where we could, on a more permanent basis, have everything set up. So that would be one of the biggest advantages of having it in the basement, is that we could have tables and chairs and all of those things just set in place, and that would be one less task, and sometimes admittedly a burden for some of the older volunteers to set up tables and chairs. So that would be a great advantage. Mm-hmm. And then just having space where we know from week to week what the situation is, because we do have to share space. It's hard, because we have the preschool that we're sharing with and other events that happen in the church, and it's understandable because that's the largest space right now at church. So if it should be a situation where there is room for the pantry and we have the capacity for storage and all the requirements that we have and access and all those things, then that would be a great advantage. Are the volunteers? I'd say the biggest impact are the volunteers. And so what that would mean for them is, like I was saying, we'd have a permanent space. We wouldn't have to be setting up chairs and tables. There are other pieces of equipment that we might be able to utilize where, you know, we can have a more permanent situation with the way that we're displaying and distributing the food. So there are a lot of options for that. It's exciting for the mission of the church, having a mission area, I think is fabulous. And outreach makes so much sense to have the food pantry in there. So if that can work, then by all means, that is a perfect fit with the mission of what the church is trying to accomplish, which that is unwasted space. And I am really excited about the area, the hospitality area, if you will, that we'll be able to bring in, you know, homeless people or families that are struggling, you know, through family